Ever wondered why your friends keep avoiding you? Well, I have a solution, and it's not a breath mint. It's a book, and not just any book, but How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yes, you heard that right, a book. Because nothing screams "I need friends" more than reading a manual about it. This delightful little gem is penned by none other than Dale Carnegie, the man who apparently had all the answers before Google was even a thing. The title alone is a hoot, isn't it? It's like saying, "How to become a millionaire by finding a bag of money." But hey, who am I to judge? Maybe I'm just bitter because I didn't think of writing it first. The irony of using a book to win friends is palpable. But let's not be too hasty. Maybe there's something to it, so brace yourselves, folks. Let's dive into the world of Dale Carnegie, where everyone can be your friend if you just read a book. Starting off with a bang, Dale Carnegie suggests never criticizing anyone ever, because apparently no one ever made a friend by telling a hard truth. Now, isn't that a riot? Imagine a world where everyone just nods and smiles like bobbleheads on a dashboard. No feedback, no growth, just endless rounds of "you're amazing" and "you're doing great, sweetie." What's that you say? Your friend's new haircut looks like a raccoon got stuck on their head? Well, hold those thoughts, my friend, because in Dale's world, you'd compliment that raccoon with the enthusiasm of a game show host. And let's not forget about work. Got a coworker who spends more time on social media than their actual job? Well, in Carnegie's universe, you don't criticize. You just pat them on the back and say, "Great job, Mark. Those cat videos won't watch themselves." So, remember folks, keep your opinions to yourself and you'll be the life of the party. Chapter 2 is all about the power of appreciation. You know, just lie to people about how great they are and they'll love you for it. Now, isn't that a splendid thought? Dale Carnegie had this brilliant idea that if you just throw around compliments like confetti at a parade, people will trip over themselves to be your best friend. It's like buying friendship at the dollar store. The irony of false appreciation is as rich as a triple chocolate cake. But hey, who doesn't like to be told they're doing a fantastic job even when they're as useful as a chocolate teapot? The magic of appreciation, as Carnegie puts it, is not about sincerity, oh no. It's about making the other person feel like they're the next big thing even when they're not. So just remember to give out those compliments like candy and you'll have friends in no time. Ever wanted to be a philosopher? Well, Carnegie thinks you should be. Just start asking questions and pretend you're interested. Oh yes, Dale Carnegie, in his infinite wisdom, assumes that the path to winning friends and influencing people is by channeling your inner Socrates. You know, the guy who was famously sentenced to death for being, let's say, a tad too inquisitive. Now, don't get me wrong, asking questions is a great way to keep a conversation going, but Carnegie seems to suggest that we should all go around asking questions like we're auditioning for the role of the Riddler in the next Batman movie. And it's not just about asking questions, no, it's about pretending to be interested in what the other person is saying. Yes, you heard it right. Pretend interest, because nothing says "I value you as a person" quite like feigning interest in their long-winded tale about their cat's dietary habits. Carnegie seems to be under the impression that people don't pick up on insincerity, but here's a newsflash, folks. Most people can smell fake interest from a mile away. It's almost as if humans have developed this thing called intuition. But let's not be too hard on Carnegie. After all, he's just trying to help us be more likable. So what if it means pretending to be a modern-day Socrates with an unhealthy obsession with questions and a knack for feigning interest? It's a small price to pay for popularity, right? And hey, there's a silver lining. If you follow Carnegie's advice to the letter, you might just annoy people so much with your incessant questions that they'll avoid you altogether, and voila, you've successfully influenced people to stay away from you. So if you're tired of genuine human connection and looking for a way to alienate yourself from others, this chapter is for you. So get your philosopher's hat on and start asking those pointless questions. After sifting through all the chapters and the principles of making friends, it's time for the grand finale. Well, my dear listeners, we've had quite a ride, haven't we? We've traversed the riveting landscapes of criticism, appreciation, and the Socratic method, all laid out in Dale Carnegie's self-help magnum opus, How to Win Friends and Influence People. But let's take a moment, shall we, to recap this masterclass in human interaction. It's been an eye-opening journey, to say the least. Who knew that the secret to friendship wasn't about, being a good and genuine person, but rather about deploying a series of well-crafted tactics and strategies? It's almost as if we've been reading a manual for a video game where the objective is to collect friends like power-ups and use them to level up in the game of life. And let's not forget the irony of it all, a book that's supposed to help you win friends, yet it's essentially a guide to masterful manipulation. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. But hey, who needs sincerity and authenticity when you can just deploy a well-timed compliment or feign interest in someone's pet iguana? Now let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer genius behind the concept of the book. The idea that you can influence people simply by understanding and manipulating their needs and desires. It's like being a puppet master pulling the strings of human behavior to get what you want. It's a veritable smorgasbord of psychological trickery, all neatly packaged in a self-help book. Genius, right? And let's not forget the grand revelation that came with the Socratic method. The idea that you can win arguments by asking questions. Who would have thought? It's almost as if we've discovered the secret to the universe. I mean, forget about logic, reason, and evidence. Just ask a bunch of questions and watch as your opponent crumbles under the weight of their own ignorance. It's a wonder we didn't think of this sooner. In the end, though, it's all in good fun, isn't it? After all, who doesn't love a good self-help book, especially one that promises to unlock the secrets of human interaction? It's like finding the cheat codes to life. And who wouldn't want that? So there you have it, folks. We've come to the end of our journey through the labyrinth of Dale Carnegie's mind. And what have we learned? That the secret to making friends isn't about being genuine or kind, but rather about reading a book and manipulating people. Who knew?